in 24 hours. So we're going to be on the call with you, giving you like real deal stuff that you can apply towards your business or your coaches and help them get to Emerald in 24. But this is for the entire downline. So anyone who needs to get to Emerald, wants to get to Emerald, and any of your new coaches, get them on the call and it'll get them fired up. And then it will be recorded because I know not everyone can hop on during the day. I'm thinking of doing a live call one evening next week, and I'll announce that once I confirm that. But this will be recorded, so for anyone who can't hop on live, you can always catch the recording. But I encourage you to get on live, even if it's just over your lunch hour or whatever, because there is just something to be said about the energy like on these live calls. It makes a huge difference than just sitting there and watching it by yourself. You feel so much more connected and so much more plugged in. And we know when you plug into a community, you feel more accountable. So that's a perfect way to keep yourself more accountable to getting where you want to go. So plug in and get on live if you can. And then we are, to kind of piggyback on that, we decided to throw in a little March promotion to encourage and just kind of create some friendly competition, because that's always fun too, right? And who doesn't love free stuff? So, this is the Get to Green promo, which goes along with our Emerald in 24. And basically the first 6 coaches, because there's 3 of us leading. So like I'm doing like 2 times 3, right? So 2 coaches. So 6 coaches, the first 6 coaches in our Sweat Society downline who help 2 people, either a new challenge pack with a coach sign up or a new coach sign up by, I'm saying March 17th because that's St. Patrick's Day and it's fun, but that's like a Sunday. So I'm going to push it to the 21st, which would be like Thursday. So you would have to wake up Emerald that Thursday. So it's like 2 weeks, right? Which is like, Sarah says, go green by St. Patty's Day. I love it. Right. And so you're going to have this Emerald in 24-hour like university to get you there and give you all the tools you need and like support that you need to get there. And really, so you can get there in 24 hours, you're going to know how, but we're giving you like 2 weeks, right? So we want as many of you to get there as you can that aren't already there. And if you've lost your rank, this is a perfect way to get fired up and get it back, because those of you that have been there, you know why it's important to keep it, right? It's like that's when your business is officially open for business and you're no longer a salesperson when you're Emerald, you guys, because you're starting to earn other than commission, you're starting to earn those team cycle bonuses. And that's where your income can really start compounding over time. So you want that. So those are the 2 announcements that I have for tonight. And I want to make sure that Becca gets all the time she needs. So put any questions that you have in the chat and we'll come back like at the end, or I can address them in the post in the team page later. So it's all yours, Becca.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for jumping on. I only have like 5 or 6 slides, and so if I don't write things down, it's completely like out of my head. And so I just wanted to like get some thoughts down on PowerPoint so that we can kind of go through them. But if you have questions along the way, I'm really just going to be like sharing takeaways that I had and kind of just explain what NLC is. And like Tara said, it's such a pivotal point in so many people's businesses. And so I just want to share kind of, what I got out of it. And then hopefully you put it on your board as well, like she said. Okay, so with that, I'm going to get into it, hopefully. Okay, so what NLC is it's New Leader Conference. It's basically just a training and like a gathering for emerging and like new leaders. Exactly what it sounds like, honestly. It is a qualifying event. I didn't put what the qualifications are. You can search the FAQs. It's really easy to search your FAQs. And one thing I wanted to say, which is so cool about Beachbody, is that I actually qualified for this event last year. And it was a time in our fertility treatments that we were doing an IUI. And so everything is very specifically timed when you go through fertility treatments. And so I wasn't able to attend. And I emailed them just kind of, hey, FYI, I'm not going to be able to make it. And didn't really go into a ton of details by any means, but they like shot back so quickly, like, hey, no problem. We'll hold your spot for next year. And I thought that was so cool and such a testament of like, of the company that we are a part of, because let's be honest, if for anyone else who has a corporate job, I mean, I was blown away how quickly that was. So I just wanted to share that little personal thing. I don't know where the chat function went. So somebody chatted. I need to keep this up. Oh yeah. Oh no, now I'm going the wrong way. Okay. It's been a long time since I've done the Zoom call. Okay. And so it's a 1.5 day event. You can also go early and you can tour headquarters. And I really wanted to do that. I wasn't able to for 2 reasons. One, they don't allow babies to go with you, and I took the baby with me. And 2, we had a huge snowstorm in Michigan, so I ended up getting delayed and missed the entire first day. This is another thing that, in my mind, I'm like, I'm like missing Friday. Like, I'm only going to be there for Saturday. Like, do I still go, or, should I just bag it? And Andrew talked me up and was like, you should go. And I did. And I'm so glad I did. And again, I emailed them. I was like, hey, I'm going to miss the first day. I'm really sorry. And like, this is like from the airport. No problem. Excited for when you get here. Your registration stuff will be at the front desk. Like, it's just such a, it's just such a positive community. It's just amazing to be a part of. So, very cool. There's opportunity to get your hotel paid for. So literally all I had to do was pay for my flight out there. That's just another really cool perk. It's in the qualification for how you can qualify for that. And then really what it is, just logistically, it's a bunch of training sessions. A lot of the top coaches are there. They have like, happy hour night, dinners, all of your food is provided. The lunch meals like blow Summit out of the water, like what you get for lunch on Saturday. It's just great. And then Saturday night, they have a game night, which I love games. So I was super excited about that. It's just really fun. It's really fun. So that's the logistics of it. Really quickly, some high-level takeaways that I wanted to share. Events are incredible. So events equal heart. It's just any time that you have an opportunity to be surrounded live with people that are part of this community. It's just the energy in those rooms, whether it's a super Saturday or super weekend, summit, of course, the Success Club trips, like anything that you can be a part of. I really, really encourage you all to go. I'm a really big introvert and I really like to just be home in my sweatpants with my family. But so it takes a lot of activation energy to like get to these type of events. But every time, like literally within the first second of being there, I'm like, this is awesome. Like people are just so kind and like it's just such a beautiful space. So certainly encourage you guys to get on that, especially new coaches. Immerse yourself in this community. The other big takeaway that I noticed immediately is that our top coach panel right now, everyone is so different. They run their businesses differently. They are like personally different. And it just goes to show that seriously anyone can be successful in this business. And I put successful in quotes because, top 10 is only one measure of success. That might not be on your vision board, to be a top 10, and that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be by any means. But my point here is that, absolutely anybody can be successful in this business in whatever you define as success. And because of that, don't you dare discount anybody. Don't discount yourself, and don't discount anyone that you're talking to about, inviting them into this world and this life. Kind of along those lines, find some, especially if you're a newer coach. I remember when I was a new coach, like I followed Sarah Lenore, I followed Emma, and so as a new coach, find someone that is successful, that resonates with you, and learn from them. You follow them for some inspiration, but don't be them. And so what I mean by that is, you can't take their posts and make them your posts. You can't copy and paste their life and make it your life. Even if if you do the DFY, done for you trainings, I would encourage you. I know it's supposed to be done for you. You can take those posts and like literally do them. I wouldn't do that. I would convert it into your voice and you, because it's really obvious if you don't. And so So as a new coach, if you're on this call, you know, when you're listening to national wake-up calls, and there's a coach on there that resonates with you, start following them. And then once your confidence increases, stop following them, because you don't want to morph into, like I said, you don't want to be them. You are you. And so Amy Rada was someone who was there, who immediately, like within a second, I was like, oh my God, I love this girl. How have I not known about this girl before? And so like I started, you know, just kind of gravitating towards that. So there will be someone in the top 10 that you probably resonate with and learn from them. Another big takeaway, this was kind of a theme throughout, you know, and we've probably heard it before, but it's the start that stops most people, and that kind of just theme. And so I think a lot of times we get really, you know, how do I even start? And then we get paralyzed and we don't do anything, right? And this could be for a new coach just starting. You know, this could be, you could be a coach for 2 years or 5 years and kind of just, you know, get into that paralysis or analysis paralysis mode and stuff like that. And so the only way to really get through that, and this came through quite a few presentations, was you just got to do, you just got to go, you just got to do, just put into action, just be you. One of the easiest ways to do that is to start using your social media as your accountability partner. And I'll talk a little bit more about social media, because there were a couple trainings on that, and I wanted to share a couple just takeaways from that. But using your social media as your accountability partner, and then you're inviting people to join you along the way. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then another big high level takeaway was to not overcomplicate things. And then I say, or do. And the reason I say that is that, okay, there were a couple coaches that, you know, a couple presentations where it was like just keeping it simple, using your social media as your accountability partner, like just kind of things that are like natural. And then there was another coach, Ali Tessitore, who has all these like calendars and like things that she does. And that's great for her. And so if that is you, and you are really structured, and you are really like, you know, I need a, like she has something from January through February, March, and well, like she has like all this stuff, right? And it clearly works for her. She's killing it. And so if that's your job, if that's your jam, do that. But if that's not your jam, don't worry about that. Like you don't need to have all this like elaborate stuff to be successful. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I wanted to touch on a few things about social media that we talked about while we were there, because it really resonated with me, because we're in this period of time, right, where a lot of people are moving from Facebook to Instagram, Facebook algorithms, you know, everything's crazy. People don't even like Facebook anymore from what, you know, privacy stuff, whatever. And so there's just a lot of like, what do I do about social media? And so I wanted to just touch a little bit on that and what we kind of talked about. This first one, again, came from Amy Rada. Just implement what feels right. And this kind of gets to you don't have to overcomplicate things. Like, you know, just trust your gut in a lot of this, because your social media is your storefront, and it's supposed to be you. It's not supposed to be anything but you. And so trust in you, and I'll touch on that in a little bit too. But just kind of go with your gut and what feels right, right? There's a zillion different approaches, but at the end of the day, you have to just do what feels right. And post as much as what makes you happy. Okay, I really loved that, because when I first started, it was like, hey, make sure you post 3 to 5 times, get out there. And then it's kind of gone down to, hey, post once, or make sure you're doing 10 stories a day, like all this stuff. And really at the end of the day, like, don't worry about a number, post as much as what makes you happy. And I thought that was really cool. We've heard this one before, but what you post, you attract. So if you're putting out negativity, you're going to be surrounded by negativity. If you're putting out positivity, you're going to be surrounded by positivity. And I don't mean that you only should share highlight reels. Actually, you should not just share highlight reels. Like, make sure you are vulnerable and you are sharing the downsides, you know, but don't leave it in that negative, right? Like, what did you learn from it? Or, do you have, is your boot, like maybe you didn't want to do a workout today. There are days where I don't want to do a workout, right? But my boot camp is, the ladies in my boot camp are encouraging me to do it. And so it's, you're sharing that negative thing, but you're also like, putting out some positivity and light. So, this next one, it was from Keisha Fitzgerald. She was also super passionate. And had great stuff to say. But with hers, be a come with me girl versus a look at me girl. So you want to use your social media as, it's a way to build trust with people. And it's a way to like, hey, we are part of this community. Like, come with me. Like, you don't have to be in your perfect shape, or, you don't have to be in like the best shape of, you can be just starting your journey. Sorry. Okay. Confusing. But, invite people to come along with you versus just watching you along the way type thing. And she had this whole presentation where she was comparing, social media to dating. It was really funny. It was great. And so this next bullet point here, like when someone follows you on Instagram, they're interested in you, like ask them out type thing. So, you can dive into like an invitation to, join you in your boot camp or something like that. Turnoffs. So again, kind of along that dating theme that she was going on. But don't talk about yourself. Like it's about them. Like we'll figure out, you use your social media to talk about yourself. But when you're in private conversations, find out what their struggles are. Where are they at? Make sure you turn it around to them versus just talking about yourself. Don't bash others. That goes for people. That goes for companies. That's a big turnoff. I feel that. And then being vague. So this was a good one. Like, sometimes we're like so scared to invite that we like kind of like are really passive about it. And that's like a big turnoff because you don't want to like string people along type thing. So if you're, there's costs involved, right? In the boot camp, like, yeah, you can, don't be beating around the bush or whatever about that. Like you can go ahead and like, yes, there's cost involved. This like the cost depends on what package you end up choosing, but you don't have to like be fearful of that. Okay. Next one. So Ashley Molstad, she did a couple presentations. She's the top coach of the year. And there were some really great takeaways from here. So I just wanted to share a couple of these. Something that, I think a lot of us struggle with is fears, just fears in general, right? And so she was very blunt about like, what are you hiding behind? Like own your successes and own your failures. Like, I'm going to jump down to the excuses don't serve you. Like, if whatever fears that you have, you're probably also making up excuses as to why you're not doing something. And hey, these excuses don't serve you. Tony Robbins talks about that a lot too. Like excuses don't serve you, just that. And leaders don't expect blank. So fill in the blank. Leaders don't expect their uplines to do things for them. Leaders don't expect this to be easy. Leaders don't expect everyone to say yes on the first time. Like, I don't know, fill in the blank. There are like leaders go after it type thing. I really liked what she said, borrowing the confidence from your future self. So if you're a new coach and, especially as a new coach or a veteran coach, right? If you're not confident in something, borrow it from your future self. Like just, they were talking about Scotty Hobbs' coach. She was top coach. What's her name? I'm blanking. Yeah. Anyway, she used to be top coach. We know it. Someone's chatting me. Lindsay. Yes, Lindsay Matway. Thank you. Okay, so when Scotty Hobbs has said that when he used to talk to Lindsay Matway, at like the very beginning, he thought that she was like president of Beachbody. She was just exuding this confidence. And it's not like she wasn't, but she was, so confident that like he literally thought she like ran the entire thing. And then eventually she was top coach. And so that kind of just attitude, borrowing the confidence from your future self, was really cool. I'm going to jump out of the Melanie Mitro story and come back to that. Sharing your vision with your team. It's really important to like constantly, like, you know, talk about what you want with your team, because this is a team. You know, being successful, it's not done on your own. It's done as a team. So be willing to share what you want and like what do they want, and be open about that. And then I thought this one was pretty huge, and it was an eye-opener for me specifically, but spending 95% of your time making new connections versus developing, you know, coaches that are already on your team. And the thinking behind that is that coaches on your team that want to make this a business and want to grow will do that. It goes back to this, like, they don't expect blank. They don't expect you to do this for them. They will do it themselves. And so you shouldn't be devoting 90% of your time helping them. They should be owning that themselves. And so that's pretty huge. And so that frees up your time for, you know, making those new connections. But with that in mind, you have to at least set your coaches up for success, right? So what tools are you providing them, you know, at the very beginning for them to then be able to run, right? And that could be something as, hey, Google or YouTube things, or, you know, like kind of laying that expectation. We have this amazing SWE.A.T training, you know, those type of tools. So making sure that, you know, your new coaches are set up with the tools and the resources to run on their own. And then obviously you're there with them, but you're not, no hand holding type thing, I guess. And then the Melanie Mitro story, I wanted to share this because I remember this so vividly. It was a summit at Nashville, and I can't remember what year it was that, like what number, you know, she was top coach for 4 years, and I don't remember which one it was, but when they were announcing the top 10, you know, they share like how many elite points each coach has, and they count down from 10, 9, 8 down to 1. And when they got down to like the 3, 2, 1, and Melanie Mitro was number 1, number 3 had like, you know, like double the elite points of, let's say, the number 4 coach. And then the number 2 coach had like double that of the number 3 coach. And then Melanie Mitro had like triple that of like the number 2 coach. Like there was this huge gap between Melanie and whoever the number 2 was. And I remember, because I was sitting next to Jen, and we like looked at each other like, how the heck did she get that many points different? Like, what the heck? And so Ashley was like, she was at that same summit and she had the exact same reaction. So I guarantee 99.9% of the people in that arena probably had the exact same reaction. Like, how the heck did she do that? And so, but what Ashley then did was, well, if she can do it, so can I. And so if top 10 or top coach is on your vision board, you can do it too. You know what I mean? I just thought it was so cool that like I remember that same moment. I didn't then go say, I'm going to do that, because that's not on my vision board to be top coach. But Ashley had that drive to, you know, well, if she can do it, so can I. And so if you have whatever your dream is, whatever is on your vision board, you can do it. You got to do it. There's no like, like, right? Those kind of behaviors and attitudes don't serve you. Goes back to that. So if you want to do it, you can do it. Okay. And then the last thing, so they also had like, not so sexy trainings, right? And one of them is compliance training. But I thought it was pretty cool, because kind of going back to what Tara was talking about earlier with Emerald, and so I'll get to that. But the biggest concerns that FTC has are income claims and product claims. So you can't say, you know, you can make 6 figures in 2 weeks. Like, we know that's not true, and we don't want that to be true. Like, this isn't skeezy like that. And so make sure you're not saying things like that. If you do talk about income, make sure you use the income disclaimer. This is my, like, I'm giving you the compliance training that we got. But make sure you use the income disclaimers and the product claims. So I don't really think about this, but you can't say things like, you know, you will lose 20 pounds in 1 week. Like, that's not healthy if you're doing that type thing. So, you know, just make sure you're not like over claiming what things can do. And then the other thing I didn't realize is that different countries actually have different disclaimers. So make sure that you search, you know, if you're from Canada or the UK, make sure you're searching what that disclaimer is. The presentation for that was given for compliance is in the Coach Online office. It was pretty short and pretty fun. So if you're, you know, you should go check that out. And then the U+2. So they were like, you know, you can use the same credit card, so you can pay business fees for you plus 2 other accounts. Now, you're not running that other account. Like, if it's your spouse has to be running this account, right? Like, they have to be in on this with you. You can't, like, they gave examples of how they, like, you know, were talking to, like, spouses, and they're like, Beachbody, what? Like, you know, you can't do that. Like, they have to be on board with you, you know, on board with their account being started, basically. But the U+2 is a parent, a spouse, or a child, assuming they're over 18. So if you want to get to Emerald, you got it, right? You have to pay the business fees for 2 additional accounts, and they have to be on board, but you can literally do that in one night. And so if you want to grow your business and you want this to be a business, go ahead and just do that, right? Because being Emerald, that's when you start getting your team cycle bonus. That's when you're making that decision that I'm going to run this as a business. And so just do that. You can do the U+2, make sure they're on board, and it's great real estate on your downline. So you can make that decision and go. And then the other thing is, like, just make sure you're only using your customer list for Beachbody purposes. Like, you can't, you know, blast them with other things, non-Beachbody related type thing. That's all I had for the presentation takeaways. So if there's any questions about anything, I have to pay tax on income that makes, yes. If they earn above $600, they do, yeah. Any questions or any other comments, or has anyone else been to the NLC? You want to, you know, share some things? Let's see, I can stop sharing my screen. Oh, wow. Hey, everyone.
Look at all those people.
Yeah. Hey, guys. I didn't see any of that.
So when you're on, like, the presenter screen, you can't see all of you guys.
No, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Well, now I'm all nervous.
That was awesome, Becca. I went to New Leader Conference a couple years ago, and I had a lot of the same takeaways, and it really was like a turning point for me. And when I really, like, saw, again, that diversity that you were talking about in the top 10 coaches and, like, the presenters, it really made you feel like, if these girls can do this, like, I can too. And I think that's such a huge thing to remember. Like, we sometimes think about elite or even diamond or 2-star or 5-star, whatever. And if you're a brand new coach and have no idea what we're talking about, it's okay, because I see some of my new coaches on here. So you're probably like, what? But it's just like, these people are no different than we all are. And I mean, obviously we all have different backgrounds and circumstances and things like that. But at the end of the day, we're just people, right? And the thing that I think top coaches do is consistency. And that's what Melanie Mitro will say time and again. And that's how she outperforms her competition, is that she has consistency in her business and does the basics, like, every single day. And then, you know, 10x's it, or maybe she 100x's it. I don't know. But But it's just doing that basic work on a consistent basis if you want to grow your business. Anyone have any questions?
Who has it on the goal board? So Sarah's asking, is that Emerald or NLC? Probably NLC.
Yeah, NLC.
Yeah. Show of hands.
They're like, what is NLC?
I know.
Becca, I have a question for you. Did it seem like majority is shifting over to Instagram, or was there any talk about Facebook still working for some people, or what was the general feel about that?
That's the great question. There was a panel, which is probably the best part. And everyone has shifted like 80-20, 80% Instagram, 20% Facebook, or more. So, some of the coaches were up to like 90 and some like only use Instagram. The other thing that was huge that has me thinking, literally like everyone in the audience uses my challenge tracker app versus I run all my groups on Facebook.
Me too.
And so that was a little bit of a and what I think is happening is, it's been a really long time since I used my challenge tracker app, and I think that there have been some changes to it for the better. And so it has sparked some interest to like, okay, maybe I need to go do that. And one of the reasons is all these people using Instagram have an option for groups outside of Facebook. And so if, people don't have Facebook accounts, or they don't even want to like bring them into a Facebook group, they use the My Challenge Tracker app. There, okay, thanks, Jenny. App, okay. That was funny. They were like, hey, who in the audience uses My Challenge Tracker app? And like everyone raised their hand, and I was like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, coincidence that you're here? And I'm like, like they're making a connection that everyone who uses My Challenge Tracker app is like, getting the qualifications to go to NLC. And I was like, ooh. So, interesting. Any other questions?
Yeah, so, I have to go look at the qualifications again, but I didn't hit Success Club in January. Is that one of the requirements to hit that every single month?
I don't think so, to be honest. I think it's more around rank. So it's 1-star diamond and some other things.
Okay. No, I'll go. It's fine. I just wanted to ask that, like, as a quick question.
I don't think it's required.
Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I should have looked before. Nah, FAQs. You can do it. Anything else? Cool. Well, thank you guys for jumping on. It's recording, so we'll get that recording out. Sarah, do I have to do that on my computer?
Did you do it to the cloud?
Yeah.
No, I'll get it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. This was awesome. This was so awesome. I wish I could have been at New Leader Conference, because sometimes I hear they're better than leadership. So I'm curious to go to one of these days.
Cool.
Thanks for hopping on, everybody. Thanks so much, Becca. That was awesome.
Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.